Praise be to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Dear brothers and sisters in the most blessed Virgin Mary, among the 8 motives taught by St. Louis de Montfort to embrace and follow this true devotion and to become a true slave of Mary Most Holy, today we will reflect on the 6th and 7th motives taught by St. Montfort. So as a 6th motive, he tells us that this devotion, by embracing this true devotion, it grants us, it gives us a true and great interior liberty. So some might ask, why liberty? We all have freedom, so we don't need any liberty. So the word is true interior liberty. So what is that interior liberty? Many times it comes with the fear. The base is fear. Even devil plays in the fear. Even in the modern world where we are living, most of the things in the medical field, in the science, in the scientific level, in the technological level, most of the things are moving in the present situation, the present world, under the banner of fear. And that fear is created or spread through the social media or the different, and which makes the people forcefully the will to surrender to all the evil plans of the enemies of the church. That's one of the way. Now, liberty is what? This word many of us must have heard before, and this liberty was a slogan in the French Revolution, one of the worst revolution and in the history of the Catholic Church, in the history of humanity. Most of us might have studied about this revolution in the history books, which is not correct and true. Many times it's not complete and there are lies mixed with that. And we are living in a world where truth is so much mixed up with lies. The historians and the histories are rewritten with lies after lies. It's almost like following the saying, the great saying of the infamous philosopher Voltaire, French philosopher. He used to speak that his slogan was that you lie, lie and lie and keep on lying, finally something will stick. That slogan of his goes very well with the father of lies, that is devil, none other than the devil. And the lie of the enemies of the church, the lie of the revolution. The revolution, we are attributing it to all those who want to be part on the side of the devil and the offsprings of the devil and the followers of the devil and the enemies of the Catholic Church. So they all come under the category of the people or those who want to destroy the good. There is a famous saying by most of the saints and the great philosophers and theologians that evil is always more dynamic and the good always is pacific or tries to be soft and doesn't want to react, and it always has a wrong notion, understanding, and under the banner of meekness and humility. Or we won't go for fight. We know our whole life is a fight against ourselves. So here the fight is not only in the physical sense, in much more in our interior sense, in our interior life, our spiritual life. In the book of Job, it's very well written, a life of man on earth is a fight, and we are called to fight And the one who really wins is one who knows to control yourself, one who can fight and win over yourself. Rest of the fight, that's also not wrong, but if God allows and permit, like we had in the history of the church, we had the kings who, Saint Ferdinand, Saint Louis IX, there were the Catholic kings who were in the battlefield. We had so many saints who were in the battlefield. We have Saint Ignatius Loyola, who was already a great warrior. Then we have many other saints. So anyway, the true liberty lies in practicing the virtue and practice of the commandments. And the slogan of French Revolution was liberty, fraternity, equality. That's the same base which bring forth after many years the communist revolution by the most abominable document, the poisonous, venomous theory and philosophy brought by Karl Marx. Unfortunately, even that is re-edited or misinterpreted, or it's packed in a new way and presented it even among the Christians and the Catholics, and they just swallow it without understanding deeply the history properly, what was exactly the content and what all things are there in that to destroy the true faith and the Catholic Church. This is the aspect which we forget. So we have to find the truth, the history, and understand what is liberty. And in all the revolution, if you check in the history, the Sorbonne Revolution, the Communist Revolution from Russia, the French Revolution, which paved the basis for the destruction of all hierarchical order and monarchies, which was established or which was a fruit of the Christian Catholic civilization, and they want to bring that democracy, the socialist or the democracy, and all that was a preparation. The French Revolution was the base, as explained by the great prophet of the 20th century, Plinio Correa de Oliveira, and he explains very well in his great book Revolution and Counter-Revolution. And he even quotes what is the true order according to Saint Thomas Aquinas, that true peace will come from true order, following the commandments. Rest all is not correct. So in order to have this true liberty, we need to have practicing the commandments, where we'll have a true order and finally a true peace. Now interiorly also we need this true peace and true liberty. So here Saint Louis de Montfort teaching us that we have to give ourselves completely to Mary. In Fatima in 1917, when Our Lady appeared, she asked especially Sister Lucy, to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And Sister Lucy later said that it was not done according to the way what Our Lady wanted. And there was a best opportunity in the history, that was the Second Vatican Council, when all the bishops and cardinals were together, united with the Pope. That was the best opportunity where the Pope and the Church could have done the total consecration of Russia in the most correct, exact, desired way by Our Lady, where everybody was present from the universal church. But unfortunately, that also didn't happen. It was overturned in one way or another. But later, we had other popes who consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart. But some theologians say it was exactly as asked by Our Lady. Some denies that. So that debate is still going on inside the church. Anyway, our focus is mostly on the interior liberty and how we are going to consecrate Our Lady so that we may have the true peace and true liberty and true freedom. So Saint Louis de Montfort teaches us that the consecration to Our Lady, by offering yourself as a slave, it will help us to overcome the servile fear, the fear of, or the scruples, what we have. Oh no, I did that, I did this, so what will happen? It's good that we need to have fear of God, which is a basic necessity for when we walk through the path of God. But that should be that fatherly fear, but it should not be like a fear of a dictator or a tyrant. No, that fear is filled with love, honor, respect. Everything is there. That's what that fear of the Lord is. The beginning. Is a beginning. If you're going to be at the service of the God, you need to have this fear of the Lord. Now, this is not in the modern sense or in the natural fear. Now, in order to overcome these fear and scruples, this devotion will help us a lot. Grant us true peace, to practice the virtue, and it helps us have more confidence and trust in God. Like we have Saint Faustina through the Divine Mercy, where our Lord repeated that you must have that trust in God. Like we have in the Sacred Heart devotion revealed to us through Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque. Our Lord, Sacred Heart of Jesus, I trust in you. Divine Mercy of Jesus, I trust in you, because from the Sacred Heart flows the Divine Mercy. So the Divine Merciful Heart of Jesus, we trust in you. That trust, we need to have the same in Our Lady, because she is the Mother of Mercy. She is the Mother of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So we need to have much more this confidence and trust in Mary, that she is my mother. I respect her, I honor her, I love her, and she is going to help me, grant me this true interior liberty. Now let us go to the example given by Saint Louis de Montfort about Mother Agnes of Jesus, Venerable Blessed Mother Agnes of Jesus. And Saint Louis de Montfort, at that time he said she died in the order of sanctity. She was very holy. When she was 7 years old, she used to pass through severe interior struggles and troubles and pains and sufferings, which is interior. And most of the time it came, of course, permitted by God through the devilish influence, etc. And once she heard a noise that, consecrate yourself, give yourselves completely into the hands of Jesus and Mary as a slave. No sooner she heard this, she went immediately, and that's when she was a small girl, and offered her life as a slave into the hands of Jesus and Mary. And she got a chain, iron chain, and she obtained that chain and wore that chain around her waist as a symbol and sign of her continual slavery to Jesus and Mary, because she lived in 17th century at the time of Saint Louis de Montfort, a little before that, and she used to wear this chain till her death. Later she became a nun, and she was known as the Mother Agnes of Jesus, and she used to wear this chain, which was tightened to her body, as a remembrance that she is a slave of Jesus and Mary. So that's something amazing. And she became an inspiration for Father Ollier, who became the founder of the St. Sulpice congregation, and many other priests and seminarians who offered themselves completely into the hands of Jesus and Mary as slaves. And once Our Lady appeared to Saint Agnes of Jesus, and Our Lady gave her a gold chain. Gold chain was vested on her neck, and she said that is a sign of that union and that link she has with Our Lady, because she is her very faithful, true sincere slave of Mary. And that was the honor given to her. And when Our Lady appeared, there appeared also Saint Cecilia with her. And Saint Cecilia started to sing. We know that she is a patron saint of the choir and those singers. And when Our Lady adorned her with the golden chain of slavery, of love, of submission, and at that time Saint Cecilia sang, "Happy and joyful are those who are the slaves of Mary, because they will enjoy the true liberty, interior liberty, the true freedom." That means your soul does not, or your interior life, your spiritual life cannot hold anything of this world, because there you have a true liberty, a complete detachment from everything, and you are no fear, nothing, absolutely. Your focus is only on Mary. You give completely to Mary and just surrender everything in the hands of Mary. So another motive, that is the seventh motive, Saint Louis de Montfort teaches that it searches for a greater blessing for our neighbor. That means it will help us to fulfill the commandment. We have the 10 commandments divided into two, first 3 into 1 by Jesus Christ, and the rest of the 7 into the second one, love your neighbor as yourself. So to practice this commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, this devotion and slavery to Our Lady will help you fulfill that. That means it will procure truly the blessing or anything greater and good for your neighbor. Naturally speaking, we are living in a modern world. All the present generation or the upcoming generation, it's always the best for me and the rest for others. That's a slogan for many years and centuries. In the past, it was not like that. Like we saw in the example of a farmer who wanted to offer his first offerings to the king. Normally, there is a saying in the Catholic civilization, in the Christian civilization, any farmer or anyone, the first fruits of harvest, first is for God, then for the king, then for his neighbors, then only he takes away himself, then rest for the obtaining the profit. That was a part of the Catholic charity. And even today in some parts exists, because when they have the harvest, they give, most of the time the surplus is given to the neighbors. But in some Christian areas or in the Catholic areas, they give always to their neighbors the harvest, what they get. They go and give in the church, makes an offering, give to the king and to the neighbors. So this is in the material level, in the material, social or political level. Now let's come to the spiritual level, where we make prayers and intercession for the souls, for the conversion, for the souls in purgatory. And in front of God, always a spiritual act of mercy is much above than any corporal acts of mercy. We have 14 works of mercy, 7 are corporal. That means bodily or materially speaking, we have to say that they are of this earth. Visibly you can do. In the spiritual works of mercy, visibly you may not see. You pray for the dead. You pray for the conversion of sinners. You admonish those who are doing wrong. So, in the visible sense, it may not be always clear, but in the spiritual sense, yes. So this devotion helps us to procure to do good for our neighbor. That means you give everything into the hands of Our Lady. All your good actions, all its merits, satisfaction, that means satisfactory value, the meritorious value, which we already explained before. Everything. So whatever you give, whatever you acquire or whatever you practice, any virtue, any merit, any acts of mercy, any good you do, you give into the hands of Our Lady so that she may use accordingly to whomever she wants. So some might think, so I won't get the merit. So all the good I am going to practice, and somebody is going to take its merit. Let them take. You will have double reward for your charity. Whatever you want to lose for the sake of Christ, you will gain it. That's a promise of Jesus Christ. If you want to lose something for the sake of Christ, even your good actions, even the merits, if you want to abandon it in the hands of God, complete abandonment, you will gain double. It's more than double. It will redouble and redouble. That's for sure. In the same way, we are going to offer to Our Lady our prayers, our sacrifices, all our merits, all the good actions, whatever we did, even the sufferings. And finally, we give into the hands of Our Lady so that she may use it for the conversion of sinner, or for the soul in purgatory, or for whatever she wants. So it's greater that you, because of you, or by your prayers, that you could save one soul, either a converting a sinner, or you could rescue one soul from purgatory by your least actions, least words, or least thoughts, or least prayers. Imagine, even if you do something very small, it all depends on with how much love and how much detachment what you do that, and you offer it to Mary. We know by ourselves we are never able to attain the maximum perfection and to get the maximum merit. But we know there is one person who attained that is Mary Most Holy. So we give everything into her hands so that she may take it and utilize in the best way. And we can be 100% sure she will never make a mistake in offering that. She will utilize it in the best way, and we will get the best result. And finality, we will be rewarded much more. We will be recompensed much more, and we will be doing the greatest act of charity towards our neighbor, not only the neighbors on this earth, the visible ones, even our neighbors are the souls who are in purgatory, and the souls who are even sinners who need the grace of conversion. So here we offer everything into the hands of Our Lady, and we will have that great grace, or we can say we practice the true charity towards our neighbor by giving to Our Lady, and she will recompense much more. So let's ask Our Lady to give this grace so that we may have the complete detachment, one point, and another one, to offer everything into the hands of Our Lady, and to have that total surrender, to obtain the true liberty and peace of our mind, which will be truly in serving God, in obeying God, and also to obtain this grace of true charity towards our neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. That means even what you have, you are ready to sacrifice for the sake of love of God, for the sake of Our Lady, and your final reward will be much more than if you had kept all that for yourself. Your reward when you give to someone, it will be much more, incomparably much more, beyond your imagination. That's a promise of St. Louis de Montfort and Our Lady and our Lord in the Gospel also. So let's ask His grace and try to be faithful to these teachings of St. Louis de Montfort, so that Our Lady may give us more graces and we may produce more fruits from our interior life and from our souls. May Jesus, Mary and Joseph bless you all.